Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Rich here. See what I did there? And welcome back to another video. Now, in today's video, we're going to talk about Discord. Apparently rolling out some new things. Well, it's not really new for certain people in the UK and Australia, but ID verification or requirements will be coming on the way to start the month of March for Discord. Now, I'm not going to read any articles in this video because you're here because you already know what's happening, or you just want to hear about what's going on. The Verge article that I'm sourcing will be down in the comments section if you want to check it out. Give it a read for yourself. So with Discord, they will start requiring ID verification for all users globally. And this will start in early March. And all users by default at that point will have their account set to teen appropriate settings unless they comply. Now, if you don't comply, you won't be able to access age restricted channel. I'm gonna have a lot of trouble with the word restricted. I don't know why I can't say it while I'm reading. Like I just said it just fine, restricted. Now watch this. Now, if you don't comply, you won't be able to access age restricted channels and servers. So if you do adult content, or if you're watching adult content on Discord, watching Jada Stevens on Discord is a little insane. You need to get some help, brother. Or speaking on stage channels. So this is within Discord communities and servers. They do have options, or some creators might, where you can have a stage and kind of do like a watch party, and maybe you want people to speak on there if they want, or talk. If you have the teen settings that are on, then you will not be able to access that. Other effects of the teen appropriate setting will also be content filters for any messages Discord deems graphic or sensitive, warning prompts from unfamiliar users for friend requests, and disassociated inboxes for unfamiliar users for DMs. Now, this is going to be a really important part to keep in mind with this whole thing. DMs and servers that are not age restricted will continue to function normally. So we're going to come back to that in a little bit, talk about what that means. Now, age restricted channels, they're going to require ID verification to be a part of and or send messages in. Again, this would be basically like adult content servers. Again, you shouldn't be on Discord for that. You need help if you are. Also, it should be noted that the join date will not matter for the ID requirement. So if you try to join a content server like that and maybe you do it now, it's not going to matter come March. You're going to have to put in your ID requirement or do the other methods, which we'll talk about in a little bit. As for newer age restricted servers, they cannot be accessed either until ID verification is complete. So let's go back a little bit, back to direct messages and servers that are not age restricted will continue to function normally. This is an important thing that I don't think I've seen a lot of on Twitter/X or wherever you're getting your news, or where I got mine. I found out off of Twitter. For most people, they probably barely saw that. But if you, oops, that was my charger. Get out of here, freaking Apple charger. Anyway, with DMs and servers that are normal, let's say you have a sports server or a gaming server. Basically, you have a community of people that talk. Maybe they do watch parties or whatever. They will not be affected in this situation. You're not going to need your ID to get in those specific rooms. Now, this whole thing is allegedly for teen safety protections, but obviously we know that's BS. These companies don't care about kids, bro. But you wouldn't be surprised. This is not the first time we've seen or heard Discord testing this age verification thing, as they tried it in 2025 in the UK and Australia. Now, people did find pivots. They actually used a game, I think, was it Death Stranding? And they used screenshots from that game to prove that they were age verified. And it actually worked, but it only worked for a week in Discord. And they got that shit out of here immediately. So that got clapped immediately. So we'll talk about the ways you can verify yourself as well in a little bit. I mentioned that a little bit ago. And just as a little reminder as well, with Discord already doing this, you can go on Google Images and see what it would look like with restrictions once they kick in a few weeks. Obviously, they already did it in the UK. Discord is still up in the UK and Australia, so you can go see images for yourself. Now, Discord, with this plan of people trying to find pivots and hacks and bugs and stuff like that, apparently they do have a what they call a bug bashing plan for users that will try to find other methods around the verification system. Now, obviously, you would think maybe a VPN would work, like you do for, you know what? Don't ask. Don't ask. Hashtag. Actually, no. Never mind. Forget that. The VPN will not work since it is not, what do you want to call, geo-focused. It's not a regional-based thing or a country-based restriction. It's going to be for the entire globe. Everybody from Africa to the U.S. territory, South America, everybody's going to fall in line with this. So VPN is not going to work in this situation. Now, the main concern with this whole thing is that users are fearful of their data being used inappropriately or leaked. Now, ironically, back in October of last year, which was 2025, I believe early October, a former third-party vendor had a data breach and 70,000 people, yeah, that's a lot of people, their personal info was exposed to hackers. Now, following this data breach, Discord stopped working with that third-party vendor, and they're now using another one for authentication related purposes. Now, 70,000 people, we'll talk about that later on. That's a lot of people that their identity could be stolen if you use Discord. That's a lot of people. So when you're asking people to put in their ID, you don't know what they're going to do with the data. Actually, stop. Finish the facts before we get into that. It does seem like ID requirements will be the main focus. To remove the teen appropriate restrictions, users can have a few options they can basically do. Number one, you can use a facial age estimation, or you can submit a form to Discord's current vendor partners or partner, as more options will be coming soon. Now, the most important thing to note is that the facial age estimation option that you have, it will be using AI to analyze identity. If the image proof is incorrect, you'll have to appeal with the photo of an ID, and then a third-party vendor will verify it. Now, with that whole thing, AI is everywhere now. Like, it is what it is. Unfortunately, everywhere you go on the internet, AI is somewhere in today's society. It's gonna be like that for probably another 10 years, so you're just gonna have to deal with it, unfortunately. Discord also claims with this whole ID collection thing that will be going on for some users that want to access age restricted things or have full access to everything, they're claiming that the documentation that you send stays on your device and is never collected for Discord to see. Come on. Come on, that's like telling me a polar bear is blue. That's not that's not how that works. We know y'all keeping that data. That's hashtag baloney. Now that we got some of the info out the way that I summarized from the Verge article, which again, please go check out and read it for yourself if you still read. I'm sure people still read, but personal thoughts, I'm gonna start with that. I think this whole thing is just kind of dumb. Like, I do get the understanding that kiddos and teens and ooses, whatever you want to call them, on the internet deserve to have protections. But again, we could be honest, right? Do these companies, do they really care about the ooses? Do they really care about the kids? Hell no, they do not. No, none of these companies care about these kids. Just big companies and people with power in general do not care about kids. The current administration, that's a whole nother topic. You see what's on the news. I don't need to explain that. Even like with the whole Dan Schneider thing at Nickelodeon, just as another example of people not caring or just not being responsible with kids. Like, society, when companies say they care about kids, they're not really locked in. They're trying to put on a face image. Now, I will give them credit for at least trying to do something about this, because a lot of other companies will shrug off problems with youth safety. So at least they're trying to acknowledge it, but they don't really care like that. I'm just gonna have to put the hand on your shoulder on the little notebook I got on my microphone. No. When companies aren't responsible with just their whole youth safety or just the safety of users' identities in general, adults have to suffer from the restrictions, which isn't always fair. Most of these social media websites already have a lot of our data, such as our name, obviously our phone number for verification, etc., which then could lead to them knowing a lot more about you via your email connection through like Google or something like that, and then it goes on and on and on. So this whole ID stuff, you'll see not only with Discord, but eventually I do think, depending on what certain social sites go through, that's my stomach, y'all ain't gonna hear that, you might see other sites like X, maybe even Facebook, they might make it a thing at some point where, you know, we've been getting in trouble recently with privacy concerns and data breaches with our vendors. So from now on, you right there, you're gonna have to use your ID to sign in. So yeah, put that in there. Give me your driver's license. Give me that. Expiration date says 2027. Give me that cheese. It's mine. But eventually other social media websites and more websites in general will start having ID verification. So you might see it pop up a lot more across the board. I know this has kind of been a thing since the start of the decade. Obviously, I already mentioned it before, but this is already a thing with adult content. Don't ask it. Shut up. But it's already a thing with that kind of stuff where, you know, it'll say something about an ID verification or something like that, and it just depends on what state you're in. But the idea of ID verification is already everywhere, nearly in the US. Now certain states, now I know Louisiana has it, I'm pretty sure Texas has it. A lot of Republican states, they think that the internet will brainwash your mind of God. It'll make you think so much. It's gonna make you hate your religion. I'm not religious, but you know, Republican stuff basically. So certain states might not have it. I don't know if Virginia has the ID verification for that kind of stuff, but you get where I'm going with it. And it really is just a kind of like frosting on the cake. And basically, you know, with this whole ID verification thing, they give them even more of a reason to track what you're doing in the day. Now, again, you know, the CIA, they know what you're doing. I'm recording on my MacBook right now. I have a camera in here. I know there's some guy named Jeff watching me record. Yeah, I'm waving. Waving at my phone too. I had a phone in my camera, smart TVs. The CIA watching you every time you talk to yourself. Yeah, Rich Boy 217. When you're thinking about videos to do for yourself, what you're gonna eat, that 93-7 turkey in the freezer. Yeah, they're watching you talk about all that. Cut up watermelon, all that little stuff. Reading the book. They know what you're doing, cuz. So the whole ID thing is not really gonna help. It's just gonna confirm it even more. Just with Discord, adult content, anything like that, it's just confirming more of who you are exactly. And it's a huge risk. Again, you're giving these companies your identification. Your driver's license is your ID. It should be in most states. I know it is here in Louisiana. So if you just go on a site, they say, hey, give me your ID. ID, boop, verification, boom. They could have a moment where they have a data breach, and let's say like Discord did last year, 70,000 people. You could be one of 70,000 people that might have their personal info leaked, including your license. So it's dangerous stuff. Now the pros of this whole situation, and then we'll get out of here. We'll talk about pros and cons for a little bit with this video. Now with the pros of this whole thing, there are 4. Now Discord is acknowledging youth safety on their platform. I talked about it a little while ago. I do respect that they're at least trying to put the effort in, because again, a lot of the times like Facebook and the Meta apps, Instagram especially, they always get in trouble at some point. And a lot of the times, and I think I mentioned it in the video, like when countries find out or go into an investigation to see, yeah, social media is affecting the youth in a bad way, they just usually ban the sites. Like they ban social media from people that are 16 and under, which again, I think is it's a good idea. And they're also taking effective measures when others typically brush it off. We just talked about that. They're at least trying. So I'll give them the little pat on the back for at least doing something about this. Another thing I will give Discord kudos for is that they're keeping the servers that aren't age restricted normal for the most part. Now, we talked about this already. If you do have a normal server, you're not really going to see a whole lot of effects. You won't be able to speak on stage channels, at least, or in stage channels, so keep that in mind. And then the last thing I'll give them kudos for is the obvious of focusing the ID requirement for age restricted service. Again, I don't think it's that much of a big deal. If you want to satisfy yourself, it's fine, right? I'm not a judge of you. Just don't do it too much. Don't get too locked in on that kind of stuff, right? Have a normal mind. Don't get hashtag Gooner brain, all right? But that is a dangerous thread that is on a lot of social media sites, especially TikTok, where you might have a kid on there and then they just see somebody shaking their ass on there, like with nothing on or with little on. Like, that is a problem in itself. I do respect that they're doing that, because that should have already been a thing for that kind of stuff anyway. Also, again, why are you watching corn on Discord? Get help. You shouldn't be watching that on there. Cause now we get into the cons of things before we hit out of here, and I'm not talking about Con Jr. All right. Now, the first one, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 to strive for. Now, the first one is that everyone will be affected regardless of age that you input during account creation. Now, I cannot remember what I did specifically when I created my Discord. It was a while back. I'm pretty sure you have to put in a birthday or something like that. I think you got to put in your birth date or your age when you create a Discord account. The fact that everybody is going to be affected is not it for me. Like, again, we just talked about the pros of this. There are ways to see how old somebody is. Like, they already have our data. Like, if you get access to my main Google Gmail, you should be able to see my birthday, because a lot of people have their birthdays in their Google account. Some do not. Some do. They have access to their phone numbers. They can see through records with the CIA and the FBI. Hey, is this person's birthday actually here? Yeah, it's on blank blank 19 blank blank. All right, bet. We're cool. There are other ways to find out if somebody is telling the truth about their age verification. Everybody shouldn't have to fall to this. And again, I'm glad it's not extreme for normal servers, but still, man, come on. Another big con here is that one of the methods that will be used for verification will be using AI for analyzing you if you don't put your ID. Again, AI is everywhere. I don't like it, but there could be a lot of problems to where, let's say you fall for it. Let's say you're a gooner, right? I'm not, but let's say you are, you need help and you want to get on there for some reason. You want to put in your Face ID. You're a grown man, bald, probably weird haircut in a weird facial hair. I don't know. And you put in your face on the ID scanner thingy, which is like a little selfie. You put that in AI thinks that you're somewhat underage. That could be a problem in itself, because then you'd have to contact Discord's vendor to actually authenticate that you are an adult, or you have to just put in your ID verification. The limited stage usage, even in servers that aren't age restricted, that's one I don't like. I don't like that one. There are ways for people to find other ways to be responsible. Now, the two biggest cons of this whole thing is that people are going to find hurdles to overcome the ID requirement, which will then mean everyone else could see new rules at certain points, which would create a ripple effect. It's like the ripple effect when you touch water, bloop, and then there's a little ripple that goes out like a little bubble, kind of, and it just echoes across a little area of water. There are always going to be different ways. Anytime you are using technology, people are going to find a way. They're going to get desperate. It's just like with adult content. People thought, man, they banned it. I can't watch. And then they just found out VPNs could basically help you. Like, that's just how that's going to work. Now, VPNs aren't going to work for Discord in this case, but there's going to be another way. People are going to manipulate the AI bot that's going to analyze you. Like, they did that in the UK with Death Stranding. I left it earlier. Let's leave it again. Like, there will be hurdles, and people are going to discover those hurdles. And then Discord is going to have to respond to that with the quote bug bashing plan that they have. They're not going to be ready for it. And then because of that, the people that are just maybe being normal and going by the guidelines, maybe that are in normal servers that don't have to put in their ID, maybe they get in trouble. And then they also have to deal with other things that other people are doing. So if somebody uses a hack here to use it for the, say, like the selfie AI thingy, then everybody's going to have to put in a real picture at some point. And it wouldn't just be age restricted servers that would have to fall in line with the ID requirements. So that's just going to happen too. And then the other thing is that it could start a Pandora's box effect. I already talked about it, just like most of the other stuff. The Pandora's box basically is a thing where once you open something, it cannot be closed back. So it's like when people first find out about, if you're an NBA fan, what Karl Malone was doing before he got drafted. Once you find out about that, you're not turning back to anything else Karl Malone related. Like, it's going to start a Pandora's box effect if these social media companies get in trouble here in the US, which that's not going to happen under the current administration. They don't give a shit. But at any point in the future, if they get in trouble, or even in other countries, they could just say, man, we don't want to lose people. We don't want to do this. How about we just implement the ID thing, and we can all make our money, right? You know, so it's just, it could start a Pandora's box effect. You also got to keep in mind, most of these platforms, I don't think Discord does, a lot of them have politicians on them. That's my stomach. A lot of them have politicians on it, so you might get persuasion to try to implement the ID thing, and then it's just gonna start a Pandora's box effect. Also, one other thing I did want to mention, VPNs are gonna be in trouble soon too. That's another thing. Hey, appreciate the VPNs if you have them now, because in a few years them things are gonna get restricted and packed up and donezo, especially if you're in the US. That's a whole nother topic that ain't for here. So that's gonna do it on today's video for the Discord ID verification cheese. I know I did kind of repeat myself in a way, but I did the video in a way that was the summary first, and then I gave personal thoughts, which also went into pros and cons, which were pretty much in a circle with each other. A lot of the stuff that I talked about in the personal stuff appeared again in pros and cons about the whole thing. So hopefully the video wasn't a little weird or anything like that. It is kind of late, so if you're new around here, I typically do video gaming stuff. We did just finish Ghost of Yotei, if you want to check that out. I also did a little song that I had messed with. Check that out if you want. That's it. Be sure to make it rain on the like button, sub up, hit the little notification bell, and then hit all notifications, not some. I know YouTube will send out notifications for posts in the community tab and stuff like that. Stay tuned to that. Follow me on my social media pages, Twitter/X, Blue Sky, and Instagram. I'm out. Again, read the Verge article, do more research for yourself, and stay aware out there. So see y'all in the next video. Peace.